Guess who got the new R5 Mark II? I wait for this camera for years, literal years, and we finally got some good stuff. But today is just going to be a basic unboxing, and I wanted to overview the features on the camera, like the buttons, externals, and the menu and stuff like that. So nothing extremely crazy, but I just wanted to go over some of the cool exterior features and other things just real quick. And then I will be making comparison videos on the R5, R5 II, the specs of the R5 II, if it overheats, all that fun stuff. So if you want to see more of that, you can hit the subscribe button down below. But for now, I got to open this because it's been sitting in my office already for a while. Unfortunately, got a little damaged, so it worries me, but I'm hoping the camera is over on the other side. So let's see what we got here. Now, this is pretty typical, and this is actually kind of a smaller box than I'm used to, but have your manual, your warranty, nothing crazy there. Your battery charger, which is pretty much the exact same thing. Yeah, LCE6. I'm pretty sure this is the exact same charger as every other LPE6 battery, but we have another one. Now I have a crap ton. But we do have a brand new battery. So this is an LPE6P battery, which I believe you can only use these batteries in the new battery grip that's in this camera, but it should also give you a little bit more performance and battery life. I do like that they have the actual name of the battery on the front of it, because all of these batteries look the same. Some of them do have this little holographic Canon symbol, but this is going to make life easier to distinguish the batteries, because otherwise you'd have to look at the bottom of the battery. So that's going to be nice to have. And of course you get your strap that no one ever uses because there's better ones out there. But you have your camera, and unfortunately the damage to the box is on the side of the camera, but it looks like the camera was not touched by it, luckily. So we have our camera wrapped in a very, very soft wrap. I'll open that in a second. We have another baggie here, which I actually don't know what this is. This looks to be recycled type of paper, actually, which is pretty nice too, that Canon goes that route now, or at least it's not plastic. Oh yeah, this is huge. So this is your attachment to the side of your camera so you can plug cables in and they don't get ripped out or break the port. This is quite ginormous compared to the other ones that we've seen before. Usually they're only about that big. But since this has a full HDMI port, that makes sense that it's that big. And then we have, it seems, some cables, probably a USB-C to USB-C. Yes, so we have USB-C to C cable, pretty typical to come in a camera. This box seemed pretty minimal, which is nice, and I do like that a lot of it is recyclable. So let's look at the reason we came here. This is like some soft material, which is just weird. It's like a paper, but not. Don't know how to explain it. So, whew, I'm excited. All right. Ooh, I didn't want to touch it. All right. So, first things first, this camera is a little bit bigger than the Canon R5, just from first glance. It seems to be a little thicker, almost. Maybe it's not, but just from holding this, it seems a little bit bigger. So we have some new features on this camera that are pretty cool. All right, so first things first, we have this new really nice hot shoe cover. So there's actually a button you have to press down on it, and then you can take it off. It's a little bit hard to take off, but I do like this because it does protect the contact pads. I have used my other Canon R5 outside in the wild when it's wet or moist or raining, and it does get a little rusted here and there, and you have to clean it off, and I don't really like that. And the old covers, they just fall off. So having that little button to take it off is going to be super beneficial. This also looks to be a little bit of a reinforced hot shoe mount. I don't know if that's for sure true or not, but this seems to be a little stronger than what I'm used to seeing, or at least it looks a little bit more beefy than what I'm used to seeing. So I'm going to put this back just so I keep it nice and fresh. There we go. It feels like I'm going to break it when I'm putting it on. So few new things here as well. Number one is we have a switch finally from photo to video mode. In the past, I had to switch it with my MFN button. I would manually move that button to be a switch back and forth from photo to video. So that's nice to have that switch there. We still have the mode button in the middle, which is fine. That's how you change what mode you're in, like custom modes. We also have a lock and an on button, which is going to be pretty nice. I do like that. I'll have to look in to see what the lock button does. I don't exactly know off the top of my hand, but that's nice to have. Otherwise, everything's pretty standard. We have your shutter, your record, and your light button, and then your dial here. Everything on this camera seems to look really clean. Not like physically clean, but like just laid out very nicely compared to the R5. And then here, the mic and headphone jack are in the exact same spot as the R5. So that's nice. That port is also in the same spot as well as the USB-C port. And then of course we have an HDMI, full size HDMI, which is going to be super nice. No more breaking HDMI cables. But if you use your little adapter, you should be good regardless. So USB-C as always. But also over here, you will notice there's a little vent right here. So there's actually passive cooling here that will help the camera stay cool. And you can also buy a battery grip that will blow air through these bottom vents and then out through this vent to cool your camera down even further. So if you are shooting in certain modes or weather or lengths that require to cool down the camera, you can use a battery grip for that. Now, the Canon R5 is not a cinema camera, so you shouldn't be shooting days or hours of video at a time with it. You should get a cinema camera for that. But it does have the ability to be cooled. So you could shoot long form 8K or something that is a little bit more beefy. The buttons on the backside here are basically identical. There's no new buttons here, so nothing really notable to talk about. The screen and everything looks very similar. I think it's got a slightly new screen, but otherwise everything is pretty normal, other than the this may get really freaking hot sticker on the back here, which is kind of funny to see. But the last cool thing is your viewfinder here. This looks really different. It's actually really large as well. Compared to your traditional viewfinder. And that probably comes into play because it has the eye follow focus, meaning you can follow a focus point with your eye. So if you turn your eyeball to a subject, it will focus on that subject, which is a really cool thing that came with the R3 and probably I think the R1 as well. But really fun feature that'll be nice for taking photos so you can get things focused really fast. Notable mention too, it does have the feature to stay on someone's focus even if someone walks in front of the camera. So that's really cool. And then last but not least, the SD card slots, your typical CF Express and then your SD card, just like the other R5. So otherwise, really cool and solid camera. Everything on the inside of the lens cap also looks very similar. But again, I think this camera might be slightly fatter, which is not a problem. I just think it's interesting. The camera is definitely beefier up top here with the viewfinder, probably for all the features that they've built into it. The last thing I wanted to look at was the menu options. I wanted to see if those differ or looks different than what the R5 normally does. So let's see if we have a charge in this battery. I doubt it, but maybe just enough. This battery is 100% dead. So we will be using just a normal LPE6 battery. It's not like we're doing anything crazy. And we have our passive screen still that comes on. Looks like Bluetooth is already enabled. I always turn that off in Wi-Fi because you'll only need it at certain times. First, we're in English. I have to do a quick setup. All right, I got it set up and I actually got a little warning message about using a normal LPE6 battery and that some functions are actually disabled. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but we're gonna look at it again. It looks like the following functions are restricted due to incompatible battery or in combination with battery grip. Movie recording network functions and use of some accessories. Now, I don't really quite know what that means. Maybe you can only shoot in certain 8K modes if you're using the battery grip so it doesn't overheat. So a couple of things I actually just figured out while playing around with it is a little disappointing and I don't really understand the reasoning behind it. So basically, if you do not use the brand new LPE6P battery that comes with the R6, you cannot shoot in any other mode other than 4K, D or U, or 2K or full HD, but you can only shoot in 30 frames a second, and you can only choose from the profile of LGOP. As soon as you pop in the LPE6P battery, you can shoot in any of the camera modes that you want, any frame rate, any resolution. So I find it weird that they require you to use this brand new battery to shoot in frame rates and resolutions that the other R5 could do with even a regular LPE6, not even the N battery. So I'm a little confused as to why they did that, which is really frustrating because now I'm going to have to spend another couple $100 on just a few more batteries because you have to use the LPE6P batteries. I almost feel like Canon is trying to be like Apple. I love Canon. Obviously, I've got R5, R5, R5 II, another R, RP, but some things they do I just don't get. But what am I going to do? You know, I can't have much say. I'm just going to have to pay him more money if I want to use a $5,000 camera. And I guess that's just what I'm going to have to do. So I don't know why it's at default 12,800 ISO, but everything so far looks pretty similar to what I'm used to seeing. It's a little bit set up differently. The info button will actually make it to a point where the viewfinder is the only thing that works versus the screen, which is another interesting thing. Otherwise, I am finding it quite interesting. So I'm going to go to manual mode, and it looks like everything is pretty similar. I mean, there's not much different here. You can change your settings. This is photo mode. You've got autofocus modes. Different types of autofocusing modes, of course, because it's, you know, got newer features inside of it, but otherwise looks pretty good. I'm gonna go to video mode real quick. I wonder if the mode info button, no. So if you hit mode and info, it doesn't let you go to video. You have to use the switch, which makes sense. And everything else looks the pretty same here. So let's go to the menu. So the menu does look a little bit different, and we also have some extra menu options, which is quite interesting. I'll probably make a completely separate video going over the different options and menu settings and such, but I'm just really curious about the different settings we have available to us right now, which is quite interesting. So I'm gonna spend some time going through all this, make another video, but for the most part, I do like that they separated a lot of stuff. So you can change your recording format to like 10-bit, 8-bit, RAW, etc. Your movie recording size is separate from your frame rate, which is separate from your log. So I can select 4K, I can select 25 or 29 frames per second, and I can be in LGOP log profile of sorts, which is pretty cool. And then you can really mess with your audio recording as well and a bunch of other stuff. So it looks like there is a lot of additional options when it comes to the menu here and the new Canon R5 II. So I'll have to spend a lot of time kind of going through this and learning how to use it because I plan on using it this Thursday, which is just a couple days away. So hopefully we can get some more videos out on this. I'll do some behind the scenes of using this camera and let you guys know how my first shoots go. But other than that, that'll be today's video, just going over the camera and what it looks like. And now that we have hands-on with it. So we'll see you on the next video.